Day is salvation come to this house. For as much as he also is a son of Abraham, so even because he may be rich and he may have done some things, that's why he said what he said. He may have done some things, but he ready to change. And anybody who's ready to change, I don't care what situation you in, Jesus is ready to save you. How y'all doing out there again? Freddie calls it checking in. Hope everybody's doing well. As always, everybody on the up and up. The title of today's video is, I guess I would title it The Rich. We're just going to talk about today. I'm going to read two stories. One story is where this rich man wasn't, his heart wasn't right toward God, and I'm going to read the other one where this rich man's heart was where God can work with him. But first off, I'm gonna start in. We're gonna start firstly in First Timothy, the sixth chapter. Everybody know, you know, a lot of people have sometimes misquote the verse where it say they'll say something like, "Money is the root of all evil." But they leave off the first couple words in front of it. But it says, "For the love of money is the root of all evil." And when I think about it, say the root of all evil. So you think about, say, like if you in farm life, you plant a seed, and once that seed get into the ground and start getting roots. So that's how money can be. Once it have got in you and got in you, and like that seed of loving it so much, it'll take root of you loving it so much, and loving money, it can produce bad things. In those upper verses, above 9 verses, it talks about, that the rich can fall into temptation, and especially those, especially those who teach the word of God. And this basically what this chapter was talking about. Those who preach the word and looking for gain, which is the totally opposite. But anyway, also in this chapter, that I'm going to read, what Paul was talking to Timothy about. I'm gonna start in that the 17th verse, in which it reads, 1 Timothy 6:17, charge them that are rich in this world that they be not high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living God, who giveth us richly all things to enjoy, that they do good, that they be rich in good works. We're going to talk about one who wasn't and one who was, ready to distribute, willing to communicate, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. Like I said, with these verses, I'm gonna give a contrast of one who wasn't rich towards God, and I'm gonna talk about one that was rich towards God. But I could say there's no wrong with riches. I know having things, but it's just a matter of there's no. It should not become your God. Money shouldn't be your God. Nothing should be your God. If you read on in that 7th verse of the same chapter, it say, "For we brought nothing into this world, and it is certain we can carry nothing out." So just for that fact, That's how you ought to look at things that riches. But let us go on ahead and get into the two contrasts today. I'm gonna start first with the one who who wasn't rich towards God, and we're gonna see what happened to him, and also then we're gonna go to the one to where Jesus, but talking to this rich man, and he had things right. But anyway, let's get to this bad example first, which is in St. Luke, the 12th chapter, and we're gonna start at the 16th verse. St. Luke, 12th chapter. We're gonna start at 16 verse. And he spake a parable unto them, saying, the ground of a certain rich man brought forth plentifully. And he thought within himself, saying, what shall I do? Because I have no room where to bestow my fruits. And he said, this will I do. I will pull down my barns and build greater, and there will I bestow all my fruits and my goods. And I will say to my soul, soul, thou hast much goods laid up for many years. Take thine ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God. So this is that example where we read over in Timothy where this person was not rich towards God, and he was selfish pretty much. He didn't have no other thoughts other than himself. And when you're in that type way, God is not happy. And we can see how God was not happy about it. He didn't give him time to change either. But he said, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then who shall those things be which thou hast provided? So all the thing, one biggest thing, whatever we got, God have allowed us to have it. God allowed the rich people, to have it. I don't know who I can be talking to. Maybe one of these days, those who are rich but not rich towards God can see this. If you like what I say, share it so word can get out. This rich man right here, his thought pattern was just completely off. He was all, like I say, about himself. He had plentiful, but you don't hear nowhere where he's thinking about nobody else. It's all about himself. And when he got down to the point of his soul, you know, all souls belong to God, all of them. So God asked him a question. But God said unto him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of thee. Then whose shall those things be which thou hast provided? So is he that layeth up treasure for himself and is not rich toward God. So see, God can allow you to have it, and he can take it just like that. Just like that. Like we were reading in 1 Timothy 6, we brought that into this world. We can't take that with us. And like I say, we supposed to be charging those, like I said in Timothy, what we read earlier. Let's go scoot back to it right quick. Shoot back to it. And like I say, this gentleman was high-minded, which are things, and nor trust, they say, nor trust in certain riches. So he, like I said, he was trusting so hard in all what he had, the ground had brought forth, that that he has completely forgot about other people. He forgot about doing good toward other people. He wasn't thinking about no rich. You know, he was just thinking about how much more I can get and how much I can, where I can put, thinking of where he can store more of it up. You know, he wasn't had anything thinking or thought about distributing to nobody or helping anybody, which doing those things, it's just like you doing it unto God. You know, when you know, when you thinking about the least ones, and like I said, not thinking about that's all yourself, you know, that's the work of the Lord. You doing, thinking about other people. But you know, there's nothing wrong with having it. But like I say, you ought to be, if you see somewhere somebody's lacking, you know, you ought to have a feeling in your heart, you know, to try to bring that person up if you can. And you're rich. And like I say, you're not, it won't be nothing for you to do. But that was, no, doing things like that's rich in good works. You want to definitely be rich in good works. So he wasn't none of that. And when he got to talking about his soul, you know, you know, that's he got out of the way and God couldn't take it no more. And he told him, your soul gonna be required of me, of thee. In other words, this night, God was gonna handle him. And like I say, there's nothing you can do once the Lord takes that breath of life out of you. You know, this life is nothing but a vapor. No matter what we can accumulate in this time, is nothing compared to eternity. So it behooves us to do the works of God, do what he wants us to do here. So once we truly, you know, once we leave here and we live eternal somewhere, I made a video a while back, like I said, you're going to spend eternity somewhere, you know, because who made us? The person who made us and thought us up is eternal. And being that he's eternal, you technically are eternal. You're going to either live with him, live with him in heaven, or you're going to live eternally from him forever. But you're going to live somewhere eternally. You're going to have all your feelings somewhere. All the feeling that you have now is going to either be happy and joy and serving God one day, or it's going to be in that hell one day. That's being straightforward, really straightforward. Like I said, but we can avoid hell. You know, it small and great. It don't matter how high you are getting in society or how low. You know, hell don't have no, don't discriminate. You know what I'm saying? So I had to be straightforward with that. But anyway, you see what happened to this person, where his heart was and what happened to him and how God treated him. So let's give a contrast to a good rich man and his heart was in the right place. We're going to just turn over the same book, St. Luke, the 19th chapter, and we're going to start at that first verse. St. Luke 19:1. And Jesus entered and passed through Jericho, and behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus, which was the chief among the publicans, or tax collector, and he was rich. And he sought to see Jesus, who he was, and could not for the press, because he was little of stature. And he ran before and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and saw him and said unto him, Zacchaeus, make haste and come down, for today I must abide at thy house. And he made haste and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all murmured, saying that he was gone to be guest with a man that is a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood and said unto the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. And Jesus said unto him, This day is salvation come to this house, for as much as he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man is come to seek and to save that which was lost. So we have a contrast. This rich man wanted to see Jesus. He sought to see Jesus. He sought to see the Master. And he went through these things, being like, it's a little of stature, so he was a short individual, probably not a big person or something like that, we would say. And he ran up to a tree because he wanted to see the Lord. And being that he did that, that got Jesus' attention. So when Jesus was coming that way, he looked up and he told Zacchaeus to come down. For today I must abide at thy house. So right there, that tells me your heart, if you willing it and your heart is open, Christ is ready to save you. But your heart got to be in the right place. He say, come to him. He ain't gonna cast you out like I say. But his heart, Jesus knew his heart was in a place, in the right place, and it proves that. He told him to come down, and a lot of times, especially I know when I was growing up, when you start talking about Christ and stuff, people act funny even to today's time. People gonna act funny. So these people right here, they saying this joker going to be in a place with a sinner. But hey, yes, Jesus, that's what he comes to save the lost. Anybody who's willing, it don't care where you at. You can be the lowest of the low or the highest of the highest. Anybody whose heart is soft and want to accept him, he's ready to save. And right here, it shows where his heart was. This rich man's heart was. And Zacchaeus stood and said unto the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have taken anything from any man by false accusation, I restore him fourfold. So he was ready to do good works. Half of his goods. So you go back to the 6th chapter of 1 Timothy, they that do good and they be rich in good works. So ready to distribute, willing to communicate. So that's where his heart was. He was ready to do that. Zacchaeus was ready to do that. And he said, and Jesus responded. And Jesus said unto him, This day is salvation come to this house. For as much as he also is a son of Abraham. So even because he may be rich and he may have done something, that's why he said what he said. He may have done something, but he's ready to change. And anybody who's ready to change, I don't care what situation you in, Jesus is ready to save you. So anyway, because the video get long, I just wanted to show you a correlation, how the rich, and that's why I titled the video The Rich. You can be rich, but the key is being rich and you want to have a relationship with the Lord to do good, toward other people. And that's the biggest thing. The two greatest commandments, to love the Lord with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and you're supposed to love your neighbor as yourself. So them the two biggest things, and that's what God looks at. One person, one rich man was thinking all about himself and selfish, and God had to handle him, we saw, you know. But also this other rich man heart was in the right place and he got salvation versus the other one being having damnation, you know. But anyway, you know, I hope this video gets out. You know, I just want to bring the correlation. Being rich is not a problem. It's just when your heart is wrong and toward God, you know, and that could, those who like that, you know, that could become a snare to them. You know, if you read that whole 6th chapter, it really talks a whole lot, you know, about the downfalls of being where loving money, but also, like I said, if you got money, but your heart, you know, you have a heart to help other people, you and do good works, you know, that 19th verse, laying up in store for themselves a good foundation against the time to come, that they may lay hold on eternal life. So just like Zacchaeus did, he laid hold on eternal life because where his heart was, he was ready to do right, you know, with what he have accumulated over that time, you know. So anyway, I hope you learned something out of the video. If say like one day, to me being rich, you know, I think of if I were being rich, you know, as somebody that say like they can go to a car lot and pay the whole thing without having a note. That to me is a person that's rich, you know, or have multiple houses that are paid for, you know, and probably just renting them out. That's a person I kind of think of a wealthy person, where finance is not a thing to them. You know, like we just read, finance wasn't a thing for those two people, but like I say, one was so selfish, and the other one, like I say, he was ready to do the will of the Lord, do good works of what he had accumulated. And that's why if I ever get rich, I want to be that way, you know. And like I say, some people don't have what I have now, you know, but you still have to want to be mindful of how you know, you can do, but you can't do at a big, everybody can do something. Put it that way, as to say, everybody can do something. And, but like I say, you know, this your heart, whatever you do, just do it, let it come from your heart and have a right amount of thinking, you know. And like I say, don't be caught thinking to being high-minded, you know. We can do that, be that way. You know, I think about, say, like, I just give you an example of this video getting long, but I'm gonna leave it in the form of a question. Say like, I'm pretty sure everybody goes out sometime and you see people ask for, hey, can you give me a fruit change or something? And sometimes we have our own thoughts, but I know for me, if it's a little change or $1 or $2, I don't mind giving it to somebody. But I say the wrong way. Say like, here go the question. Say like, let's say you out and you have a taste for ice cream, right? Ice cream, but you got some ice cream at the house, right? But say like you have in your mind you want to go buy and get you some ice cream, but say it in that period of time, say like you go out of a store on your way to get that ice cream, and somebody say, I want to get me somebody come by and say, you got some change to give me $1 or $2? Now, the question, you decide not to give that person that 50 cents or $1, but like I say, you decide to go on because you got that taste for that ice cream, right? You decide to go on down to Dairy Queen, you know, say like you want a cone, you know, that about $2 or $3, $2 or $3. But like I say, you got some ice cream at the house, but you just got a taste for it. You want that Dairy Queen or Baskin Robbins, right? but you decide not to give that person that dollar, which is a whole lot, or 50 cent, a whole lot cheaper than ice cream. Do you think would you be wrong in that aspect when not giving that person that 50 cent or a dollar? But like I said, you go ahead and get the ice cream. Do you think you've been did right? Now you got the ice cream in the house, but you didn't want that ice cream from, say, like that Dairy Queen because you saw it. But you decided not to give that person, say, 50 cent or a dollar, but you decided to spend what, $3 to $4, some probably more than that some places. Would you be right doing that? I say that also to say this. You know, people that are rich and don't care about people as in our days and time, it had to start from somewhere. You know, something simple for them to not to do something for people or having to care for people. It had to start from somewhere. And I'm going to kind of answer that question that I pose. If you decided not to do that, get that person, but yet you went on down to bought that $5 or $6 ice cream, you were wrong. And like I say, the devil don't do big stuff that be so noticeable. You know, he starts at a little stuff like that. You know, conversation, you were able to help that person. You should have did that because you going off yourself. You got ice cream at the house, but you decide you going to get the ice cream from Dairy Queen and just ignore that person because you saying yourself, he don't need it. You know, you don't want to be that way. You don't want to be that way because, like I say, that little stuff, little bit of things, you know, that's how the enemy starts with little bit of things to get you to do something. Because, say, one day, if you get rich, you may be in the same, you know, you may be just as some of these rich people in today's time, you know, that do some awful things to people. You know, it's a whole lot of that when you see layoffs and, you know, they think about the high dollar while other people are suffering. You know that had to start from somewhere small for it to be on that bigger scale like it is now that we see in today's time. It started from somewhere. But anyway, I didn't want to give y'all that example and try to answer it too. You know, stuff start from somewhere, you know, but we want to be like Zacchaeus, you know, if the Lord bless us one day to get where we have an overflow, you know, we don't want to get to a point of being selfish, you know, and not help people if we can. And like I say, you know, I ain't rich yet, but like I said, if something like that happens, you know, a change or a dollar or two, I don't mind giving that. You know, I don't care what else, you know, if I can stand to lose that, likely anybody can stand to lose that, but something like that, but I do it. But anyway, y'all take care. This video is even longer, I believe, than all the other ones. But anyway, man, I hope y'all got some, man. Y'all take care. And I'll see y'all on the next go round. Peace out.